Jack White. And man, I'm trying to think. Jack White's last album before this was what, a few years back now,
Tw
too?
2018, Boarding House
Or
Reach, the electronic Jack White record.
wow, both him and Father John Misty dropping 4 years ago. And Boarding House Reach, we did not like at all.
No, bad.
No, yeah, it's that's really interesting to think about that Jack White, similarly to Father John Misty, who we were just kind of lauding for pushing the bounds of his sound and always like kind of subverting things. Jack White was pushing the bounds, but just did not deliver in any sort of cohesive or
Mm,
pleasurable way. And so now we're going into this new album. He's going to be dropping two this year, so this is the first of two
right.
full length albums we're going to get. And it's like, man, do you feel like he took a step forward on this? Because he definitely is still going for it for sure.
Well, I think he's getting more back to the basics in a certain sense, just because like the guitar is like way heavier
Hmm.
on Fear of the Dawn than it was on Boarding House Reach. Not that there wasn't
Yeah,
guitar the last time around. Obviously, he's a guitarist, but like it just sounds more sounds closer to Lazaretto and Blunderbuss and the White Stripes, which
yeah,
I guess isn't all that much to achieve, but it is getting closer to what people like about the music you make.
yeah. I completely agree, and I think there's no better um, you know, kind of fine point to that than the first two tracks, "Taking Me Back" and "Fear of the
Yeah.
Dawn." The album just starts off totally ripping. I
Yep.
mean, it's incredible. And "Taking Me Back," ending with a guitar solo that fades into "Fear of the Dawn," he just kind of goes from there, is really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um, and then a couple tracks later, we get a song with Q-Tip. And I was kind of shocked. I didn't see that he was on this. So I was like, who is rapping right now? I was like, it really is Q-Tip? Like, interesting choice. Heidi Ho in general is an interesting song, I think.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
stood
hate
out
it.
to it stood out to me more, not for the Q-Tip performance, although that's obviously unexpected. It stood out to me for the sample choice, which is the Cab Calloway song Heidi Ho, just because I had previously heard this sample used by Jaden Smith on his hit single Icon.
Mhm.
You know, I was like, oh wow, I know exactly what this is pulling from. Interesting to hear a completely different song use this sample. Uh, yeah, it was definitely a moment that made my ears perk up. That's for sure.
Yeah. I definitely feel like whereas Boarding House Reach was leaning heavily into like more modern electronics, I think Jack on this kind of takes a step back to more classic electric guitar sound. Like something like Essophobia to me almost feels a little like Zeppelin-y. And there were other points in this where I kind of got like a sense of Pink Floyd like
Mm.
vibes, and I think might have been Into the Twilight, because there's kind of like that weird breakdown in the second half of it. I don't know. It worked in some ways, and at other times I was like, this is just too much. But he definitely got weird on this, which I think is nice because if Jack White is gonna like
Right.
continue to experiment, like just get as weird as possible at this point. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's 46, so just do something, anything that seems slightly different. That's
Hmm.
cool. You know, Boarding House Reach, too different. Don't do
Hmm.
that. But this, yeah, sure. I think lyrically, it's a bit up and down. I thought "What's the Trick" had like a really funny moment. It's plus one and minus one equals zero. That's a defeatist attitude. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
That you're gonna get that with Jack White. A lot of it
He's
is
saying it so it's
nonsense.
such an animated way, like he really means it. And I was like, all right, man,
Yeah.
cool.
um. Yeah. Any other tracks that you really liked off this?
Nah, I definitely say my favorite track is track one, "Taking Me Back." That shit's hard.
Yeah.
That's what I want from him.
Yeah, I really liked a couple other ones I liked. Morning, Noon, and Night, like you mentioned. I think it's like a very like White Stripes sounding track, so I really appreciated that. Um, let's see, what's the trick? I think has like a cool like moment where it goes from like guitar and it kind of has like this descending like chords to it at one point, and then it kind of builds back up, and it's just really like interesting production that I wasn't expecting to hear on this album, but I thought actually worked pretty well. And um yeah, he just every time he goes into the guitar solo, you're just like, oh yeah, this is why I like listening to Jack White, because he just can fucking shred. So it's good shit. Um, yeah, so I don't think there's much more to say on Jack White. He's kind of the same as he ever was, but kind of making more inspired music, maybe. So I
Mm.
appreciate that. Again, check out our Now Such a Best of 2022 playlist.